Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're continuing our look at the Rise of the Beast line, sort of, as we take a look at Flex Changer Bumblebee and the core Deluxe class Bumblebee. This is the Deluxe figure from the main line, not to be confused with the Studio Series figure, which we took a look at about a month ago. Now, I said we're taking a look at the Rise of the Beast line technically because these are actually not Rise of the Beast figures. These come from the Takara Beast Awakenings or Awakening of the Beast. I've seen it both ways line. This is actually the Japanese movie line. Now, as you know, for some years now, um, Hasbro has instituted a brand unity with Takara, which means, for the most part, there are a few exceptions. Um, buyer, collectors, fans in the US and fans in Japan get the exact same product. There was the explanation at the time about confusion and just having one unified product. Personally, I think it had to do with the fact that Hasbro saw they were losing a lot of American sales, domestic sales, to Takara due to the Takara being a little more liberal with paint applications, tooling, and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, that happened right around the time that Amazon Japan was opened up for global shipping. And that's where a lot of U.S. based collectors like myself started getting the product, which is where I got these figures from now. Um, in fact, they have a lot of the Wave 1 product. Some of it is either out of stock or hasn't released yet. I know some of the Battle Masters haven't. The other deluxes, Cheetor and Air Razor, they're coming towards the end of May. So there's that. Now, let me just quickly show you the box here. This is the box for the Flex Changer, and as you can see, pretty much in English, there is a little bit of the everything you see in Japanese, that's a sticker. That's a sticker that they just put right on top of the packaging. I did try to see if I could peel it off a little, but it's on very well. So you have it there on the front, you have it there on the bottom with all the warnings, and you have it here on the back with the GM licensing. But again, oh, and here's another sticker here explaining the conversion with a little bit of a drawing of Bumblebee. That's the same one here from the front. But again, this is the same box. The instructions are the same. They're basically English instructions, but they don't have text. So you're getting the same product. Um, and let me also mention, compared to, since both Bumblebees are not in stock on Amazon US, and they've kind of, like, not all retailers have gotten them yet, at least not all the deluxes. Um, Deluxe Bumblebee here, at the current rate of conversion, was actually going for $21 and change, which is less than what an American Deluxe goes for. And combined, uh, the total with shipping was less than what a lot of people are charging on eBay and secondary websites, collector websites for the individual deluxes. So, just some food for thought that if you really don't want to wait or take the chance of missing out, there is that option of Amazon Japan for you. Unfortunately, Toys R Us Japan does not ship internationally. You cannot order internationally, or else I would be looking into getting the Scorponok weaponizer and the Smash and Change Scourge, which are in Japan Toys R Us exclusives. I think in the US they're going to be, well, the weaponizer is going to be Target exclusive. I don't know about the Smash and Change Scourge. So after all that, we'll pause and come back and take a quick look at Flex Change Bumblebee. Okay, now if you remember, we took a look at Flex Change Nightbird, and I was quite impressed with it. It has a very unique transformation scheme. It's a little bit different than the one-step changers, the flip changers that we have. And I have heard of some talk of, like, concern about the bands wearing out. Let me just be clear that these bands that you can see right here on Bumblebee in the blue, these are not like rubber bands. These are like heavy duty elastic straps. At least that's how I would describe it. I mean, they're not big, but I don't. I mean, I've transformed Nightbird a bunch of times. Just it's a fiddle toy, so I just sit there and I transformed Bumblebee a bunch of times since getting it. I'm not really concerned right now with it breaking down. Now it depends on how the figure's stored. I mean, but I don't see it drying up, wearing out like rubber bands are known to do. So, but as you can see, Bumblebee is that armored or off-road Camaro design. I do like how with the different Bumblebee figures, they've really have focused on, with the exception of the Beast Combiner, giving you that like extended wheelbase and figuring out ways to do it. But underneath, you can see a lot of the robot kibble, but it does tug up nicely. The wheels roll. I mean, these are fun figures. I mean, I'm not going to deny it or anything, although you can look underneath and there's the fake grill. But to get into the transformation, this is actually a little bit more involved than Nightbird, believe it or not. You just want to pop the sides a little. They actually, the sides peg into the legs, and then you want to come up here and pull the legs don't slide and they peg in. So once you have that done, you can then go ahead and start rotating. You want to turn the sides and the roof of the car inward. Make sure that the back plate, which is now going to be the chest, comes forward, and there is a slot there with a tab on that underbelly that will tab in, and there's Bumblebee in its robot mode. Again, like Nightbird, no articulation. You see the straps on the leg, the straps on the arms. Um, so just like that, very nice. Fun. I mean, it's actually a really cool looking Bumblebee, and I do appreciate again the commitment there. There are those the Jeep feet basically. The if you remember from the Bumblebee movie when he was a Jeep, those thickened feet, which also were carried over into the Volkswagen design. So we're still getting that sort of halfway point before we get the full Bavers Camaro look. So I appreciate that. Uh, other than that, it's a fun looking figure. I do find it interesting that they dropped the armor or the gate along the grill to give us that bare front, but I can understand that as a simple toy design. Okay, so now to go back into the car mode, what you can do is unpeg it from here, and again, rotate it around. The two side panels will peg into place right there. Just bring this down, and then as you continue to go, let's peg the arms. You want to peg the panels into the side of the legs, and that will give you enough, help position things so you can then peg the feet and the bottom of the legs into the panels there. And then what you can do is just make sure everything's lined up, that the panel is that the roof panel here is somewhat flush. And there you have Flex Change Bumblebee back into its car mode. Like I said, easy peasy, kind of fun. Glad I got it. And to be honest, I enjoy transforming it a lot more than, say, the Deluxe Bumblebee, which we're going to take a look at right now. Okay, let me just start off by saying my expectations for this figure were something that would be comparable to that great Studio Series 100 Bumblebee. Unfortunately, this is not. And to be honest, I don't enjoy this figure a lot. The transformation, especially to car mode, is very fiddly. The instructions do not help, so I'll point out a few things. And while there are some cool parts, like the built-in arm blaster, it's just not as fun as that Studio Series figure. So, starting off in car mode, the wheels are actually riveted in instead of mushroom capped like they usually are, like this. So the wheels roll very nicely, which is great because they actually do have enough clearance with the feet hanging down to roll. So there is that. But You can see the robot kibble underneath, and there's that. Now, first step of transformation is you want to remove the front grille as well as the shielding or the frame over the windshield. Now there is, should mention that it does appear that the doors and this section of the roof here are made of clear plastic, which I'm a little disappointed about. But we're going to put these off to the side because I'm sure some of you know these become the weapons. You can also see, unfortunately, the mismatched yellow paint, but that's actually something I think that's become normal with Bumblebee. So the first step in transforming is you want to come underneath and separate the front wheels from the shoulders. They do peg in there. And then go ahead and separate the arms. They peg into the sides there. Next, what you want to do is come along the top here, bring up that back panel ever so slightly, and go ahead and fold the feet down just like that. You can then you can separate the legs from the doors there. They're not going to open all the way, which is what the instructions actually would tell you to think, that there's just not enough room. And in doing that, what happens is the head pegs into the waist. So once you open the doors, that separates it, but it allows you to double hinge it down into its proper position. And I guess at this point, you can rotate the waist around, just like so. So with that being done, the next step is to rotate the arms and then bring them up and out, just like so. And in doing that, we should now be able to push back on the windshield there and bring. You actually want to keep these back wheels out of the way to give the doors some chance to maneuver. There we go. That's the thing. If you're having problems with the door, the chest coming down, that's probably because the doors are being blocked by something. So you just have to move them out of the way. So then you bring the chest down. That pegs into the waist codpiece area. Not well. You can then bring this section back, and you just want to fold the wheels in so they sit folded up like that, and then just collapse this back panel like so. Now you would think that maybe because of these tabs, they might hook into this panel here. They don't. And that's about it for Bumblebee. That's it in robot mode. The doors are going to be on a fixed angle because of how everything closes up. That back panel really doesn't close into place. And now we start with the extra bits here. Now, unfortunately, there is no way to store this in robot mode. What was on the windshield goes on this arm and only this arm to form a shield. I don't know what kind of shield it is, but and then the front end can split apart, and it forms two swords or little daggers, as we've seen. These almost look like scythes, but those can pop into the hands. You do have ball joints at the shoulders, ball joints at the hips. Ball joints at the hips. You do have that little bit of waist articulation, but it is blocked greatly by the backpack. 90-degree bend at the knees and ankle pivot, and you have some movement there. Also, and I almost forgot to mention that at least on this hand, the wrist can rotate. And let's see if we can get. So that fits in. I think that's about as far in as that can go. But that's kind of cool because I want to try something here. Let's see if I can. Oh, good. He can dual wield the swords like some sort of double staff. And that's kind of cool because on this hand, as you can see, you have that extended black section. This is where the blaster is. So you start rotating it. That'll actually push out that section. So you push it back into place. And there's the blaster. Now, a few things to note that surprisingly have not happened since I've been handling the figure. This chest section does like to pop up, but it hasn't been doing that. So, hey, I guess it wants to behave. And then right here, there's no the head is on a ball joint, but there's no way that panel pegs into place. So just be aware of that. Um, as you can see, the figure is not as clean as that Studio Series Bumblebee. Um, you don't have the weapon storage, be it what it was in uh, the robot mode. I mean, the weapon storage in this vehicle mode is, I think, is better because you don't have the blaster hanging off the rear end. But all in all, I think in terms of just transforming that tactile, fun feel, stick with the Studio Series figure. It's obviously going to be a better look to the movie. And while yes, you're missing out on like the little bumble size here, um, you get the sword and the gun, which is a little bit better painted. And I just think overall it's a better figure. This is, I mean, it's just I mean, this isn't bad, but it's not what I was expecting. I mean, if there was like weapon storage, or at least for the swords, which I really like I looked for, because I mean, Wheeljack had it, Cheetor had it, Nightbird had it. Maybe they consider the blaster being built into the wrist weapon storage, but I mean, I would have figured something more for Bumblebee. So that's about it for looking at Deluxe Bumblebee. So we will pause and we'll come back with my final thought. Well, as I said in the beginning, um, I really just think overall the Flex Changer figure is a little more fun to handle and transform. I think you'll find yourself enjoying that figure a lot more than, say, this Deluxe Bumblebee. Which, by the way, I should mention, and I don't know if this is going to be like the US release, but the weapons were actually strapped to the tray. They were not wrapped in the tissue paper like Hasbro has been doing. Like I discussed, like they were with the Target 3 pack where we looked at Nightbird, Wheeljack, and Cheetor. So, that might be a Takara thing. Who knows? Um, Also, they did use some plastic straps to secure Bumblebee into place, which, if I'm being honest, may have caused some warpage, which is why the chest and head isn't staying into place. But I don't want to say that Deluxe Bumblebee is a bad figure. It's just not as fun as the other options out there. The Flex Change Bumblebee is a lot more fun to transform. The Battle Changer Bumblebee is a lot more fun to transform and actually does a lot of the same things as the deluxe one. It had that rotating arm cannon. So you do have options. Heck, the Beast Armor one, that's a little more fun, although it's an odd looking figure. But I mean, the choice is ultimately up to you. I would go for the Flex Change Bumblebee before this one, but I would definitely get that Studio Series 100 Bumblebee if you haven't grabbed it yet. Because, like I said in that review, the best Bumblebee I ever handled. Um, as I said in the beginning, I got these from Amazon Japan. They are in stock now, and at the current rate of exchange, which is like April 21st, uh, they are going for either comparable or cheaper than the U.S. retail, especially if you're going to um, specialty shops where they charge a little bit more just because you know they're not a main retail establishment, and that's how you can pick these figures up. Um, yeah, I just noticed there's like it's like a fingerprint on the windshield there, Bumblebee. You didn't see it, but yeah, definitely keep an eye on Amazon Japan, especially. I think they're going to be if they get store exclusives, they'll probably get them first before the stores in the U.S. will get it. You might even be able to find people selling the Toys R Us exclusives as a third-party seller on Amazon, and Amazon Japan. They might ship to the U.S. That I'm not sure of, but right now, Amazon Japan, in terms of getting these figures, being sure, saving the money from driving around, um, you do come out ahead. And like I said, together, these were cheaper with shipping than some of the prices I've seen the Deluxe Bumblebee going for. But that's it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, the likes, comments, and subscriptions help to communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you bring figures like this to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. But as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month or $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous sundae. That's about it. This is your old pal Chuck for Flex Change Bumblebee and Deluxe Bumblebee. We will see you next time.